I've been on the hunt for any scrap of information about the prophecy known as 1.17.2, the Tower of Karazhan. All of my sources led me to believe that the reality-bending entities known as GMs or Game Masters were somehow involved. The problem was that they are notoriously hard to find and could potentially banish mortals meddling in their affairs. So I decided to meddle in their affairs. As chance would have it, a druid friend of mine offered to help show me a secret location where she believed GMs live. She was rightfully worried for her own safety and had to drop me off a half-mile away. I'd have to go it alone. Ugh. Alright, okay. What do we have here? Oh crap, they have a guard. Wait a second. That poor person is stuck in time, it looks like. Another victim of the GMs, I bet. At least no one noticed me. Alright, I need to get a better vantage point. Wow, there it is. The GM Manor. It is crazy, I can feel their magic from here. I have to be careful. I can't risk just sneaking in. Well, I have a couple hours before I need to get back to the rendezvous, so I guess I can just keep an eye out and see what happens. Ugh, I guess I'm gonna have to go back empty-handed. Wait, what's that?
Hey, can you throw out the trash?
Yes, I will take care of it. I'll leave it with the rogue tank plans.
I'm not above a little dumpster diving. Coast looks clear. This is probably my best chance. Carefully, slowly. Okay, one orc's trash is another goblin's treasure. What do we have here? Bingo, this is it.
Hey, do you smell orc?
I'll go see if one washed up. I want to add to my collection.
And that's my cue to leave. I swam back to my rendezvous and made it to the mainland. All the paper I gathered were waterlogged, and so was I. I got into some fresh change of clothes and rented a basement from someone with far too many cats. With the papers drying, I finally was able to see what these GMs were just throwing away. Hi everyone, welcome to the Soggy Notebook. Hope you enjoyed the little machinima I had at the beginning of this. We'll jump right in. So many of these things are pictures, a few are animated GIFs, and at the end we have some funny videos. But everything I got here is just stuff I have really no context for. I know it's all new content though. This looks like some sort of battlefield. I mean, there's these things that I don't have context for. I'm showing them off, right? And I don't even know what the scale is for this, but these pictures, these couple, they seem to be some sort of new area. I don't know if it's Grim Reaches, if this has to do with Grim Batol. There's a dwarf sort of hiding here. I think it's some sort of connective tissue between them. I don't really know for sure. And you can see, yeah, there's some kind of ruin. A lot of fighting happened here. Can't quite make out exactly, but again, I can see this hiding dwarf. So I don't know if this is still an ongoing battlefield or not. And I saw this picture. I really don't know if this is also in that area, but it's actually a pretty cute little aquarium with a turtle and fish in there. It's kind of cute. I, again, have no context for where it's coming from, so. I had this texture. It shows a broken, I guess you'd call it like a keystone maybe, for an arch. They wanted to show me this, don't know why, but it looks cool. Here's one of the only animated teasers that feel like you actually have any kind of substance, but this looks a little bit like the arcane elemental boss that's been teased. Of course, without the normal coloring that I would expect, so yeah, we have this. This is pretty cool. Don't know, I mean, this doesn't look like it's in the Tower of Karazhan. However, just a little speculation here. My guess with this actually might have been what was planned for Scarlet Enclave. If you look in the background, you can see some fences and stuff. It might actually be from there. This picture was quite stark. I am almost certain this has something to do with Grim Batol. It's not just because there's a dwarf, but if you look at the roof, the way it's peaked, definitely makes me think that, hey, this is probably some sort of a dwarven architectural marvel of some kind. A lot of books, though. I'm sure dwarves have libraries, but I've never heard of one this big. I'm grouping together, my best bet is that this must have something to do with Grim Batol as well. This green coloring is in the next couple pictures. The bird in the front, that's just a GM who's flying, so that's nothing really noteworthy. But there's like this rune on the ground in the front you can see. Definitely smacks of some kind of arcane, fell ritual happened here. Again, we have this dwarf, and probably just the GM tune doing stuff, but all this green, very, very strong theme of green. But here we see these strong pillars, a little bit reminiscent of perhaps some of the uncovered dig sites you might find, these kind of pillars. So that kind of brings that home that it really might be dwarf related, again, Grim Batol. And you know what, this picture actually took my breath away. I'm not even joking. I saw this and I'm like, how? The statue in the middle, of course, is seen in a couple places, usually ones that have to do with demonic infestation, some sort of sign of a great pact. But there's this crystalline chandelier effect on the top that I'm really fascinated by how they pulled that off. In the background, if you look closely, it looks like it might even be some kind of a green waterfall going on. Really hard to place it. Of course, the ceiling's earthen, so it really makes me think that this might be Grim Batol. So next up, I kind of categorize these. Those were sort of new content areas. Now we're on to items, I guess is the best way I'd categorize it. They just left me a donut icon. Couldn't tell you why, but here it is. Here is an item breaking or working as intended. Couldn't tell you. A lot of plus 5 manas on this Dranithus baton. I'm assuming this is some part of jewel crafting. Over here, we have Shang showing off the Ring of Midnight. Some of you might be screen capping this or curious at the very least. I mean, look at all of these recipes that are available with jewel crafting. We haven't seen many of the names yet officially from the jewel crafting things you can make. Nothing here is too crazy, although I would say I'm interested in the fact that there's a Midnight Regalia set here that gives additional shadow resistance. That's good to see that they're doing item set bonuses even with the new profession. This is actually probably the most juicy thing I think people are really going to be interested in. Now, this is Crown of Wrath, right? And anyone who plays Warrior or maybe has gotten to BWL, you'll know Crown of Wrath is not what you call your tier 2 hat. If you look at the image, the head slot seems to be a breastplate, so that's probably something they have to fix. But taking a look at this looks like this could be an alternate tier set version of Warrior Tier 2. And I did have, I put this in there just for a comparison, right? So if you're a warrior and you want to do DPS, you probably don't want 11 defense. You might not want that much stamina. And so if you go back, you can see this has way more strength, less stamina, but they both have the frost and shadow resistance, and it improves your chance to get a critical strike by 1%. So this might fit nicely in the progression for warriors. I don't really know how it's going to all work out, and this also could be deprecated too. I don't know, but I did get access to it, so there it is. And then after the item stuff, this is more like developer stuff is the best way I'd put it. And what we start here with is really interesting to me, at least. These are sketches of tier sets to come. And here we can see a sketch, perhaps, early of the Druid of the Talon-esque set we're getting. Right here, I think someone just drew a dwarf because they like dwarfs. I couldn't tell you. This actually is pretty interesting. We see at the top the artist wrote hunter, steampunk, marksman. And you can see where a lot of times you might be curious where this inspiration, how they make these new tier set models. And a lot of times it just starts with sketches, you know? Right here, Grimbatol Warlock, you know? I see that, and I mean, this is impressive. Is this what the direction they're going to be going? Is this just a rough draft? It's really hard to tell at this point, but it's fascinating to me to see, you know, this might be an early rough draft, and, you know, we get a sneak peek here. Right after that, two-hand demonic axe. I'm like, yeah, and that looks awesome, by the way. Would love to know who the artist is, but, you know, I got all these from the trash heap, so here we are. I can explain this image. I actually know what this is. I think, if I recall correctly, one of the people on the artist team was asked to give some ideas for a druid set, and this is what they sent back as a joke. I'm really hoping. Although it would be funny to see druids running around with this. This is just another sketch, just showing off, presumably some, it looks very warlocky, but that's very clearly also a night elf, but I don't know how this might play in, if this is even a set that even exists yet, but you know, you guys can chime in the comments if you know. After all the sketches and drawings and stuff, we get a little bit more into, you're going to see a lot of stuff from Blender, making 3D models. I found this stuff fascinating as well. You know, here we just see some sort of floating pylon, fascinating stuff, really. I don't know where this would be, but here we go. Some kind of Dreadlord head. I don't know if this is meant to be a joke and this, like, got messed up, or if this is supposed to be a crest of a Dreadlord. It's pretty cool stuff. I like it. This clearly is definitely more of a joke. I'm looking at this set, I think someone just hit the color button and just said yes instead of a color. Or maybe this is how it looks like when you develop models. Couldn't honestly tell you. Behind it looks a little bit like the new Paladin tier set. You can see on the left-hand side the lion head poking out. So I don't know if this is just straight up a joke or if this is some part of the process. After leading more to, hey, maybe this is part of the process, we see the Priest 3.5 set with all these different contrasting colors. Now, I don't think this is ultimately going to be what their set is. Hopefully not, although it would be funny. The hat's pretty cool, though. This is a texture file from, I believe, there must be some kind of a wizard hat coming out, because this is like a texture file, I believe. And it says wizard. I mean, hey, there we go. These are some 3D modeling images. These are like the schematics, I believe, for new areas they're making. And this one is, I think, of a good amount of curiosity for me, because when I'm looking at it, it does remind me that this might have been the zone that we were in very early on in the slideshow. There's a lot of ballistae. There's seemingly ruins, walls, castle structure. And as we move on here, we can see after you make that kind of wireframe image, you fill it out with these larger block images to sort of make more of the model. I think this is fascinating to see how the models are made. And then here you see the finished image, which is, you know, a house, I guess. Yeah, it looks like a house. There we go. This part is showing some more of the terrain modeling that the team does. Now, I have no idea where this is. However, a couple things we notice is that it's oceanside, or big body of water. We have these big ruined walls. So my first instinct was that, hey, maybe some of this stuff might be old Gilneas developer stuff. But when looking at how the walls were, I was like, no, it can't be. And here you can see some notes where the person designing it is like, hey, here's where we want to put a river. We're going to have big cliffs. You can see on the right, this is maybe where I thought, hey, maybe this is Gilneas, because if you've done Gilneas, you know there's a long walk up towards the instance portal. So this wasn't exactly curated to me, so a lot of this is guesses. I really just wanted to show it off to let you guys see it. And again, here we have these, you can almost see the beginning and end of it. On the left side, things are less developed, less textured, and then in the background, you can kind of see things have their textures filled in and have structures. So it's an interesting way to see the process. Now we're going to move on to what I can only call cosmetics, and I thought this was a good image to start it off with. A goblin riding a gorilla. Are they going to make gorilla mounts? I don't know. But these images would make me think that. I am interested also in this banana pack that is behind this knight. It would be so cool if something like that existed. I just love this concept. I don't know if this has been leaked other places, but I'm interested in this little sailor set. Two-hand mace or an anchor. I mean, here we go. That's pretty cool. Here we have I believe that sword in the main hand of this presumably warrior. I think that sword has been teased, but this shield is new, at least to me. It looks like the wing of a dreadlord, which that's just such a great artistic look. I love what I'm seeing here. I can't really tell you what this armor set's though. That doesn't look like what's been teased for 3.5 for warriors. Maybe new PvP set, because this is pretty clearly a Arathi Basin area, so maybe it's something like that. This has been teased before. Someone put it in that repository I got my hands on. But again, we have this horse-themed mace. It could be from the chess event. If there is a chess event in Karazhan, I don't know. It's been alluded to before, but that would make sense for like a knight. Now, this one I personally thought had a lot of juice. I don't know if this is something they're doing, but I have an image of it, and this is a Tauren Druid bear wearing armor, feathers on the headpiece. I mean, anytime you see a bear wearing armor like this, my first thought is, hey, it's like the bear mounts from the trolls. You have those barding for the bears. And I thought, hey, maybe this is just like a one-off, maybe it was a joke, but then I saw this, and I'm going, okay, so maybe this is something they want to do. Maybe there's something that they will do, I mean, it's fascinating to me that it's always a bummer for druids, right? They can't wear gear, but here they kind of have gear, so maybe that's something they'll do in the future. Now, here's that armor set I was curious about. I didn't know where it came from, and here's more of it. I don't have more, except for if you look at the text, it says test armor, shoulder, silver. Like, okay. It's not a lot to go on, but it's a cool look. I think people have seen teasers about the shrimp, lobster looking armor set. We got this here. It's fascinating too. You get to see some of the untextured placeholders for things like boots, wrists. They're all here, so that's cool. And going to cosmetics, we get a real close-up here of a new goblin cosmetic. I mean, we got the guy with a cigar hanging out and some really steampunk-looking goggles. And we have a kind of a wider image of this now. I'm not sure what that pressure gauge looking thing is coming off of his back, but the rest of it kind of a nice vibe. We got these overalls, some kind of really dirty, hard-working engineer, kind of grease monkey. I like it. I like the vibe. We've seen this before. This is Warrior 3.5. Not much. I mean, obviously it's a really cool look, but it's not new. I enjoy doing news, but this is a high resolution picture too. So, you can really look and see some of the details here. If you're on PC and watching this, you can really get in there. And there's a lot of detail work on this. I'm a big fan of it. Going further into cosmetics, we're looking here at these presumably cosmetics. They might be armor, they might be shirts, they might be chest pieces. Like, I couldn't tell you, but I know some people on the art team have been working on making some cosmetic options that are tattoo-like. Fits a lot of the lore for some of the races. Here's some development pieces, it looks like, from when they were working on Druid 3.5, excuse me. And it's fascinating to see how the antlers work differently between the Tauren and the Night Elves. And yeah, I'm not quite sure what all the pink stuff is. Maybe, I mean, if I look on the Night Elf, I'm assuming that's where their eyebrows go, maybe? And then maybe for the Tauren, that's where their natural mane is. Yeah, you don't normally get to see little behind the scenes looks like this, but right after we get a image of what it looks like when the Night Elf Druid casts a spell. Again, with the tattoo chest pieces, I don't know if this is part of the tier set. I don't know if this is going to be just a cosmetic, but this is clearly a Druid of the Talon themed tattoo. That's cool. I cannot explain what this is or what it means, but if you look carefully, this is several Tauren, it all looks like Tauren male chests overlaid on a female Night Elf. This might be one of the more meticulous things that the art team has to do to make sure gear pieces line up correctly. So, those are the kind of things you might not even think about as a player, that all those little seams have to fit. And for something like the difference between a Night Elf and a Tauren for body, it's pretty big. So there's another image of Druid 3.5. This image might have been leaked before, but it's good to see. Now, this I think is pretty exclusive to this little report here. This is the filigree that is from Paladin 3.5. We're getting a close look, and if you're careful, you can kind of see there is like a little bit of a lion's head in there too, which is a nice little touch. Here was, I'm assuming an early version or maybe the current version of the lion on the shoulder for the Paladin 3.5, and things got a little silly occasionally, and I could show you right here. They have the uwu version of the shoulder pad, and then of course right after that we have nerf this, and if you pay close attention, you'll see a QQ under that lion's head. I'm glad to know they have a good sense of humor. I wanted to show this off. This just looks like a really cool armor set that isn't in the game, and they're either working on it. If you look at the bottom jaw too of this closed helm kind of look, it really looks like Warhammer 40k inspired orc armor. And if you're familiar with that artwork, a lot of times they have those kind of teeth pieces kind of jutting up from the bottom. So interesting to see that art direction. I don't know what to make of this. This looks like a man-woman Night Elf. I don't know what they were doing. I think maybe they spent too long in Blender. Some kind of a conceptual piece maybe for armor, or maybe a mistake. I don't know. Again, none of this was really curated for me, so we're all just guessing together and taking a look. Here's one of the animated pieces for the cosmetics. New hairdo for orcs. Wouldn't really suggest to others to run around winter spring that naked, but you do you. We just have a Night Elf male who's bald. I think this has been a long time requested thing, maybe it hasn't, but they definitely wanted to show off that, hey, Night Elf males, they can be bald and they can have face tattoos or paint. I don't know what they get up to in the forest. There's a couple other random headpieces. Now, if I was a betting man, and I'm not, because I'm an orc and I don't bet, and betting's bad. But taking a look at these hoods, I see 3 colors. They remind me of the Druid 3.5. I don't know if we've had any confirmation that the new tier set is going to have variations, but this does look like that might be in the works, or this could just be a color swatch test. So, keep your eye on that. And apparently they are making sandals for night elves. I don't know about those feet though. And potentially some races might get their nails did. So yeah, that's in there too. And we're gonna start here getting to some of what I can only describe as the weird stuff, because I can literally describe this as I just grabbed a bunch of trash. Some of it's interesting, some of it's not, but this picture is meant to warn you. It gets weird from here. This is a furball who I'm assuming took growth hormones and is rather big. Really not much more than that. This seems to be a mace, maybe a broom with a hat, maybe a cane. I don't know. I cannot tell you what this is. Here is a cursed image. Apparently in developer land they made the roof texture everything, and this is what it looks like. Hopefully you don't get motion sick easily, as there will be some even worse than this images coming up later. Yes. I don't understand this except to say this guy likes to spin to win. I mean, cool. I don't know if this is something warriors do, but I can tell you for one thing, that is definitely not what the slam animation looks like. So, I'm glad the devs are having fun. And here I'm like, oh hey, this is a cool image. This bold adventurer found this beautiful waterfall, and then I looked really close, and if you look close to you can see he's just taking a whiz. Don't even know why this was in here, because this doesn't seem like development stuff at all. But there's a guy, apparently named himself Goldtooth, and he's complaining that people keep targeting me and telling me to leave. I feel bad for this person if this actually happened. You don't need to know what these characters mean in Cyrillic, but it seems like the Turtle team do enjoy themselves, get up to a little bit of jokes. They're little jokesters over there. I think the comparison of Keeper Gnarlmoon to a Fellhound and a Worgen was apt, and I'm sure Noah wasn't thrilled when he found one. And they're just talking about people they hire, and they just need to hire insane people, because apparently that's what it takes to be a developer. We see this image again, right? I love Steve Food, me, and you're wearing that costume. I kind of feel like that sometimes. What's the next move? Bro, you live in Quel'Tha the Lost. There is no next move. But you know what? That does mean for elves, maybe they'll finally take like an L, like all the trolls do. We'll see. I mean, they are developing Zul'Aman, so we'll see how that all rolls out. But I'm glad to know they're still keeping their humors about them. At this point, I have some videos. So I'll start this over again. What I'm showing you here, you pretty much just saw all of it. I have no context for this stuff. I just see a guy with some kind of a mace. It is not supposed to do that, I guarantee you. Surely the development team loves fixing stuff like this all the time. But, yep, so that definitely was a thing. Now, before I mention if you get motion sick easily, this is actually the time where I will warn you again. There's going to be a lot of spinning here, so just be careful. What we see here is looks like a warlock about to do. Uh-oh, that's health funnel. Health funnel doesn't do that, does it? Oh, it does today. This is Fulgen, evidently, who is now just wandering around Bladefist Bay as you would as a troll. However, he seems to be vibrating out of reality, or his animations are sped up to such a speed that, I mean, he's twerking. This is not working for anybody. At least his animations work. And of course, right here we have nothing better to end a video on than something as majestic as a, well, whatever you call that. Yeah, sometimes we'll say in lore that this gnome just made shoes that are really low traction, like very, very low traction. Imagine you get a big zip folder full of a bunch of this stuff and you're a news orc. What are you gonna do other than show your community so you can be cursed by it too? This one was just cute. Oh, he's bummed out. That's how I felt when thinking I would find a billion leaks and did not. Hope you enjoyed the slideshow. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this report. I have to get back on the road in case the GMs come looking for me. Farewell, and remember, the deadliest weapon is knowledge.